In this video, I want to give you a very short, concise answer to do I or did I qualify for the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit, that $26,000 number we've been seeing on TV. See, I testified a couple of weeks ago, and the day after I testified to the House Ways and Means Oversight Committee in D.C., the IRS came out with some frequently asked questions. Remember, frequently asked questions, as far as I know, have not been updated in over 2.5 years. And in some of my programs I've done, I said, you go to frequently asked questions, but there's no answer. Well, today I'm here to tell you there's some answers in here. So let's just kind of do a real quick overview, that 30,000 foot level. And let's say you're the person that you've been listening to TV and all the ERC scams, and you're getting ready to sign that agreement. Should I sign this agreement or not? Or I just got the money, should I be worried? Because I believe there's a lot of small businesses that should be worried, and especially if you already got it. There are two ways to qualify for the Employee Retention Credit as a result of COVID-19. One, gross receipts. So we're going to call this the gross receipts. If I had a marker, I put GR. Okay, that your accountant or your tax professional calculated. We calculated for every one of our clients in my CPA firm immediately. It's based on gross receipts of whether they went down or whatever. That's not where the fraud is at. And most of, over the last 1.5 years or so, most of the ERC payments have been paid out is over here under what we call the mandate. So door number 1 today, I'm not talking about, it's closed. There's only one other way to get through, and that's a government mandated shutdown. You have to go through one of these two doors to even apply to all the videos I've done, all the stuff the IRS is putting out. So let's walk through this. So all I'd like for you to do is, I have a company called Larry Gray Seminars. And what happened was I used it, and I was like you, I went out and Googled it. See, I already knew I didn't qualify. But here's what I want you to do today. Because remember, in all these 941s and all these contracts and engagement letters and service agreements, I have yet to find one that there's any accountability by the person that is helping you file for the ERC. So let's keep it very simple. Get out a piece of paper, just write down your business name. So let's get to qualifying for the credit, not about the credit. So under door number 1 is gross receipts. In my CPA firm, the first thing we did after each quarter, we went through to see if it qualified you. Most accounting firms, tax firms in America have been doing that for you, the small business. Then on that case, that's where that's very little fraud there. 95, 98, 99% of the fraud is over here behind door number 2. Door number 2 says a mandated government shutdown. That's it. Some of them say partial shutdown, full shutdown, supply chain, social debt, all that stuff. For a moment, we got to open the door. And the reason why I'm saying that is it's in the new frequently asked questions. So let's go to Larry Gray Seminars. I live south of Salem, Missouri. I live in Dink County. So the first thing to open this door was there a mandate? Because I only get ERC from the day the mandated started till the mandated stopped, unless I got PPP. But then not only did it have to be a government mandate, I had to show it impact me. So if my gross receipts went up, how could have it impacted me? So it's not just it was in the mandate. But for right now, let's say you're in the mandate. No qualifiers. That was my original agreement here. So what I'm going to do, Larry Gray Seminars, South Salem, Missouri, there was no county mandate. I don't live in the city of Salem. There wasn't a mandate there that I believe, but there was in the state of Missouri. So I'm at the state of Missouri website, because this is a requirement if you sign for that 941X. If you sign for a part or all of that $26,000 per employee, this is what you realize. This is federal taxes here. Federal taxes. So here's what's going to happen. Larry Gray Seminars, I looked up. It was, I believe, from March 13th to May 5th or 6th. So a little less than 2 months, there was one government mandate for me. Now, there'll be other people here in a minute say, what about the supply chain? We'll get to that. That's still a mandate. So I'm mandate 1. So at that point in time, I got PPP. So what happens is my PPP started in March and went on out to about May. But I didn't qualify for ERC again because I got PPP. At that point in time, I didn't qualify on gross receipts. That door is closed. Mandate is closed. But wait a minute. There is a small limited exception in the Q&A of Notice 2021-20. I believe it's question answer 12. And it says, in case of a supply chain. And that meant that if I'm getting supply from somebody else and I couldn't get that supply, I may have qualified for a ERC because of the supplier's mandated shutdown. Again, mandated shutdown from the supplier. So let's walk through that. So I know door number 1, gross receipts, is closed on me. Door number 2 is closed because I got PPP over the one time the mandate. I hope you're looking right now up at your county, city, state mandates. And just first, if there was no mandate, it doesn't matter whether you were partially or fully shut down. It doesn't matter if you're essential or not. All those terms, you have to open the door before you can get in here. That's in the playhouse. You got to get through the door. So what happens is you now step in the shoes of the supplier, and you have to look at each supplier. I hope when you were talking to the person getting your ERC that was coaching you, they explained, one, what a mandate was, and secondly, you either had to go through the gross receipts or you had that door, or you had to go through this mandated door. I didn't have a mandate except during the time of PPP, and I got it, remember. But then when I went to the supply chain shutdown, I have to go to each delivery, each supplier, and I have to apply the following. I tell you what, for right now, let's just read that. It's frequently asked questions. If you want to go out and look, it's on the IRS website, frequently asked questions about employee retention credit. It's not the old frequently asked questions that were marked historical. So if you went out and looked prior to about a week ago, you would see the old ones. Go out now and refresh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to question number 5 on eligibility. Let's walk through this. So again, this door is closed. This door is closed on Larry Gray seminars unless this hits me in the supply chain. All right, here's the question. Was my business or organization fully or partially suspended if I had a supply chain issue? This frequently asked question was added July 28th of 2023. Let me repeat that. It was added July 28th of 2023. So this is updating all my videos. You want to hear something interesting? I don't have to update any of my videos. Go back and watch them all. I've been saying this since that first video. And people go, well, they told me I qualified. Federal taxes, you're signing the 941Xs. I wonder where they'll be at if the IRS shows up. Probably on an island somewhere having a martini. I'll be here to defend you. So let's go into this question. Answer, a supply chain issue by itself does not qualify you for the ERC. Reading further, the IRS provided a narrow, limited exception if an employer was not fully or partially suspended, but their supplier was. Remember in my video a long time ago, a couple years ago, when I said you step in the shoes of the supplier? See, once we step in that supplier's shoes, then we're going to find out there's a really big set of rules. They have to meet what would have qualified you for a fully or partially shutdown. Continue back the reading, because see, this is not Larry's opinion. This is on irs.gov. However, it applied only when the employer absolutely could not operate without the supplier's product and the supplier was fully or partially suspended themselves. Let me read that one more time, because there's 3 more tests after this. So we're trying to open this door. We've got to jump over this hurdle. So we've got technically 4 hurdles to get here. Oh, by the way, if you've already signed the form and you don't know what I'm speaking about, maybe the person that told you qualified didn't explain the rules to you. And that is concerning. So here's what we're going to do. I'll read it, and then I'm going to go all the way through it. However, it applies only when the employer, that you and I, the small business, absolutely could not operate without the supplier's product and the supplier was fully or partially suspended themselves. In addition, watch my fingers, 1. In addition to having the supplier government order, you will need to show that the government, number 2, the government order caused the supplier to suspend the operations. Number 3, you couldn't obtain the supply goods or material elsewhere regardless of cost. I'll come back to that. And number 4, it caused a full or partial suspension of your business operations. Those are the 4 steps to open in door number 2 to say, now let me see what my ERC will be. You're stepping into the shoes. So if let's say, for example, Laura, my daughter, does some of these videos with me. Let's say she's a third party and I'm getting my supplies from Laura Inc. And so what happens is Laura's, I call her, I can't get supplies. Well, you know what? I can't get employees to show up. Yeah, this COVID deal, it's bad. She hadn't told me anything that qualifies me. That's business. Well, we got a social distance. That's not a mandate. That's not business. So here's the point. I have to go to Laura Incorporated or Laura LLC or whatever it is and say, Laura, I need your documentation. So, oh, wait a minute. We go all the way back to the start of, as if I stepped in my shoes. So it's called, Laura, what mandates did you have? When did they start and when did they stop? And was it a government mandate? Not the mayor on TV going, well, you know, we are to stay at home. They can still shop online. So there's alternatives. It's like telework. You know, if your employees can telework, then you don't qualify. So bottom line though, let's keep it simple. To open this door, 1, I've got to get Laura's mandated shutdowns and have them documented. Then once I get them, then I only get wages from the time it starts to the time it stops, and it's only supply delayed during that time period. So I go back to Laura and say, oh, by the way, Laura, let's see my product. Where was it at? Oh, let's see, wait a minute. Your COVID-19 mandate, government mandate, stopped on the 12th, and you're not shipping until the 14th. And these frequently asked questions, they even tell you how that shipment doesn't qualify. So again, I keep saying, on one hand, this is very simple. You've got to jump through each one of these hoops, but whoever assisted you in getting your ERC credit, if this is foreign language to you, or they were not asking these questions, you have a more likely than not chance of getting ERC that may not be yours. So let's continue though. Government order caused the supplier to suspend operations. So I reached out. Well, let's say Laura had, oh yeah, here it is, exactly that. Well, then the next one, you couldn't obtain the supplies or good elsewhere, regardless of cost. In the Chief Counsel memo that just came out about 2 weeks ago, actually it's 2 weeks and 3 days ago, I think, it says that they have an example in there where somebody paid 35% more for their goods. They said that's a business decision. You chose to get that alternative supplies. You don't qualify. Cause a full or partial suspension of your operation. Wait a minute. Now I've got to go back into my shop and say, how was I fully or partially suspended? Well, if I'm essential, then I have to prove that one supplier's without them, and I couldn't get it somewhere else. Even if it costs more, then I got it somewhere else. So I'm just saying each one of these are an and. If it's no here, no here, no here, no here, if you get one of those no's, you don't qualify. And I hope that you've been taking a piece of paper and working through these, that it's important because they follow up in the FAQ. You should be wary of anyone who says you qualify for ERC based on the supply chain issue without asking specific information. They should have walked you. And oh, by the way, these 4 steps are not new. In my supply chain video that I did, I believe 2 years ago, I had, here's what you have to do, and then I had the 3. So I said, first, you have to depend on the supply chain, and then I went through these same 3 questions. This is nothing new, but at least the IRS came out and took a position. And again, I would say my concern, 90-some% of the ERC that's been filed for in the last, especially early on, no. Gross receipts, no. There's probably some, but for the most part, they're compliant. But now what I'm saying is the ones that's been over the last couple of years, if your reply, if I asked you today, did you get the ERC or did you get the 26,000? Yep. Do you know why you qualified? Nope, they said so. They didn't sign anything, you did. And when the IRS shows up, and I can tell you in about a week, I'm going to do a video on how easy, if I was the IRS, to find you. That's scary. Oh, and by the way, on some of this ERC, they got 5 years to come and find you. That's scary for me. I'm not trying to scare you. But I can tell you, within the last week, 10 days, I can name you over $2.5 million of ERC credits that people were going to take because advertisements on TV. Or they were showing everybody at the country clubs getting it. Well, if they're getting it, why not me? Well, you know what? Those of you who have been with me and loyal on these videos, this video is a sad day, but it's a good day. We've got the best guidance from the IRS that should have been 3 years ago.